IVM.
This show is brought to you by IVM Podcasts. At IVM, we strive to get you the best podcast every week in and week out. This has been a great week on IVM. We're launching a new show on the 21st of May, hosted by Veda. It's called Who's Your Mommy? And it's all about motherhood. I think you guys are really going to enjoy that. Also, check out Cyrus Says. He had Tanvi Mehra this week as a guest. Tanvi basically is a yoga instructor, and she makes Cyrus do yoga in the studio. That's quite fun. Also, make sure you catch Simplified this week. Chuck, Naren, and Shrika talk about how Facebook is targeting you. And, well, given the news these days, I'm sure that's something that's of interest to everybody. On Paisa Vaisa this week, Anupam talks to Costa Belapurkar. He's the director of fund research at Morningstar, and it's a really interesting episode that gets into the ins and outs of mutual funds. Please definitely do check that out. So, guys, we also have a great new Hindi show called Pulyabazi. This last Thursday, we released an episode around the Indian-Afghanistan relationship over the years, and it's really interesting. The show is hosted by Pranay and Saurabh, both of whom are part of the Takshashila Institute, and I think that we're very glad to have them as part of the IVM family. And guys, just as a reminder, please follow us on social media as IVM Podcast. Please do reach out. We would love to hear from you. Also, wherever you're listening to this podcast, please see if you can give us a rating over there, or if you can give us a review over there, whether that's Apple Podcasts or whether that's Castbox, or wherever you're listening to your podcast, or the IVM app for that matter. It's a really good app. You should check it out. And now let me get you onto your show.
Hello and welcome to the Geek Fruit Bulletin. This is our short form show where we discuss news/not news that is floating about in the nerd ether. Does that sound like disgusting? Things floating about in the ether? The flotsam and the jetsam of the nerd ether.
When you put it that way, I was going to say yes.
Yeah.
But then I like flotsam and jetsam. Because you
here's
do
an
know that
interesting fact.
Little Mermaid is a perfect film.
Yes, and it features flotsam as well as jetsam.
Exactly.
Do you know the difference between flotsam and jetsam?
The eyes.
The what?
The eyes. That's the only way you can tell them apart.
Yeah.
One guy's left eye is bright, the other guy's right
I'll tell you the
bright.
difference. The flotsam is set in the Stone Age, and all the animals are instruments of and various machines. And the jetsam is set in the future, and George Jetsam is the patriarch of the family, as opposed to Fred Flotsam. I think we just invented two brand new shows.
Hi, this is Jishnu. Thanks for listening, guys.
Jetsam is stuff that has been thrown off a ship.
Sometimes we tell you things that are useful to you. Sometimes we will just tell you other things.
You can seem smart to your friends. All right.
I'm using the word sometimes very loosely here.
Let's get to the news/not news.
I've mainly heard this show. I usually refrain from being on this show. I like to maintain some level of street cred, but on days like today, they just can't be here. So you could also think of me as a martyr. I choose to sometimes, because this show has to happen for some reason. So have you heard that Jake Gyllenhaal is going to be playing Mysterio?
I did want to discuss this with you.
Is this confirmed?
It is confirmed, yes.
It's a thing?
Yes, it's a thing. It's also confirmed, more or less, that Michael Keaton shall return, playing Vulture.
Well, yeah. That was...
No, because
he's in jail at the end of the first one. Back. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
that's great. That's awesome.
Didn't kill him off. It is cool, but also, wasn't there this whole thing about how they were putting a moratorium on all sorts of MCU announcements for a while because they didn't want to spoil anything at all ever?
Yeah, but then again, considering how well Avengers did and like everybody and their mom has seen it, it's like, what? So, yeah, there's nothing to spoil because everybody.
No, there's stuff to spoil for the next movie, right? Because pretty much anything they say at this point impacts the universe.
True, absolutely. Yes. However, it's a company. So they have to
and they're like, we got Jake Gyllenhaal. Let's tell everybody.
But it's the same reason, like, why are you making trailers, bro?
Well,
like, are you really worried that we're not going to see your film?
No, but it's to hype people up, I suppose.
Yeah, it's the same thing. That's all
what if they did no trailers for Avengers 4?
I would be the happiest man on the planet if trailers didn't exist, period. But
the entire trailer is the previous movie.
Ooh.
That's interesting.
So, we just watched Deadpool recently, and right before the movie came on, this is not related to Deadpool, but more to trailers, I was watching it in IMAX, and did this happen for you that Amir Khan gave like a 60-second monologue about his new film that is being made in IMAX?
I did not see this.
It was hilarious. So,
what is this new film that's being made in IMAX?
I didn't pay attention because I didn't care.
Yeah.
But he was Like, it's just a static shot of his face, and he has, we're not sure, it was either a nose ring or a mole. We couldn't quite put our finger on it, but like he had grown out this giant mustache, grown his hair out long, and it's a really tight close-up shot of his face. And we're like, why is Amir Khan looking at his face? I'm used to staring at Virat Kohli selling me, kurtas or whatever the hell he's selling. And for some reason, I'm looking at Amir Khan. I'm like, hey, what's up, buddy? And then the camera doesn't move, and it's just him talking straight into the camera about IMAX films and how like his new movie is being made in IMAX and like why he loves IMAX and all this stuff. And that was it. Okay. He was just advertising his film. And I was like, wait a minute. Did the filmmaker just give me a sincere 60-second pitch about why I should go see his film? This is much better than a trailer. This is so much more compelling. Right. Nose ring or mole or not, I will watch your film. I won't. But hey,
it's still being made at this point?
I think I don't know. He was a little vague on the details, I will admit. Right. It was not the tightest elevator pitch I'd ever heard.
What's the name of this film?
I couldn't tell you if my life depended on it.
This is a terrible trailer, isn't it?
But hey, I liked it. At the end of the day, I went home thinking,
how will you buy a ticket now? You can't go on to Book My Show and search Amir Khan nose ring movie ? I think.
If you Google that, you would definitely find it.
You'll probably
you would find it.
Actually, yes, that's true.
So what were we talking about again? Yeah, no trailers. Do this. If every movie henceforth just has Kevin Feige sitting in a chair telling me why he's excited about the movie, I will take it.
That is most of his promos anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Him sitting around in a hat going like, oh, this is the most amazing thing we've ever done.
Totally.
Michelle Pfeiffer's in the next one. Yay.
Let's do it. I'm all in for that.
Are you excited for Mysterio? You're aware of how Mysterio works?
Give me the Bulletin hits.
He's like a weird cross between an astronaut and a wizard.
Yeah.
He's got a cape. I don't know what his powers are exactly. He does magic-y things, I think. Sure. Or like he controls metal, something along those lines. But basically, he's got a giant reflective helmet that looks like a fishbowl.
Right, that's all I know is that he looks like a fishbowl.
And he pops up a bunch, and his powers are vaguely defined as far as I remember. So that's a weird hero to have.
I'm excited. Gyllenhaal's nice guy. Cool, yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I mean, I'm all in for everything with the MCU, so why not? Let's do it.
We'll come back to our listeners on this when we watch the trailer. All right. Connected to this, and one of the things I've written down on my agenda for this very bulletin is a news/not news item. I want an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. update from you.
Do you really?
I really do. I want to know what is going on even.
This is a great day for me.
Yeah.
But you should tell people why you are intrigued.
Because at the end, we're going to spoil the Avengers from now on, I think.
Yeah.
So let's just say half the MCU has disappeared in Avengers. And now I am curious as to how that impacts other Marvel properties, like the TV shows.
Yeah.
And like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which from what you tell me, since none of us watch it, and like no one in the universe watches it other than you, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is trying to connect it to the MCU somehow?
It's beautiful.
Explain yourself.
It is not trying. It is won the day. It is
brilliant. Half of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. cast is disappeared?
No. Okay. So here's the thing. That show, the turnaround time is insane for like how quickly the production goes from, script to screen.
Right.
So that being said, they still, like even the actors in Avengers Infinity War, they didn't know what was happening. Right. So all they were able to allude to at the end of the season, which was amazing, it was so well done, was that Thanos was coming. Because currently, without giving too much away about the plotline of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now, they've been in space for the entire 5th season. They've been in the future trying to undo the damage that was done to the Earth. The Earth is literally broken into pieces, and humanity is scattered into various parts of space.
This is such an ambitious show.
It's so great. Okay. And it lands. It totally lands. Yeah. At this point, it really does. But yeah, humanity is scattered into space. The Earth is broken into like millions of pieces. And the plot for season 5 was undoing that or preventing that from happening, right? And they believe that Quake, who is the Inhuman on the team, the main Inhuman on the team, was the one that did it. So it's like, okay, stop our guy from destroying the world. And then one thing leads to another. They come back into present day to try and still live their lives but not make mistakes that they know that they're going to make. There's like this weird play with foreshadowing, like, oh, somebody is eventually going to do this, which will lead to that, It's like, all right, let's just not do that. It's like, well, you can't not do it because timey-wimey things, blah, blah, blah. What? And then, I mean, with time, this that word is going to get thrown around a lot.
Yes,
because time.
Yes. Cool.
But so basically, they're trying to prevent the end of the world from happening, and then they meet up with a bunch of alien races that we haven't met in the MCU, which is really cool. And all these alien races tell us that Hydra has been in cahoots with them for like decades because they've all been aware that Thanos has had Earth on his hit list for like a while because of the stones. And so they said, okay, we're not going to hit Earth because Thanos is going to come, because if we hit Earth and we take it over, he'll kill us. So let's just sit around, wait for him to come, and then be vultures, and then just pick up whatever else we can. Because Thanos is coming for the stones. What we want is gravitonium,
right,
cousin to vibranium and such.
Uh-huh.
And so we will mine the gravitonium if Hydra gives us rule over Earth. And so now S.H.I.E.L.D. is basically fighting Hydra and these guys, while also being aware that, oh, this Thanos thing is coming. That sounds ominous as F. And the very last 2 episodes are happening in real time with the events of the first half of Infinity War, I guess. So
okay,
we don't know who exactly has come, but we've seen that, New York has been destroyed. Stuff is flying all over the place. We don't know what's going on. There are spaceships of some sort, but these guys are in Chicago at the time when Infinity War was taking place. So they're not in New York. I don't know where Nick Fury is, because his thingy happened somewhere or the other. But these guys are in New York, are in Chicago. Stuff is going wrong. And then when it ends, it's basically, okay, we think we have prevented Quake from destroying the world. So that's good. And then it's about Coulson's story more than anything else.
Okay.
So it's like the team is together. The team is doing their thing. But Coulson is now on his 5th pseudo-death hiatus. That's the best way I can explain it. I can't give you more detail because I don't have time for that.
I think you gave me more detail than I ever asked for. I don't know if you noticed, but I left the theater. I left the studio.
That's fine.
I went and watched...
I'm taking my moment.
I watched Infinity War and came back.
You gave me my moment.
During your entire monologue. Yeah,
you gave me my moment, and I'm going to take it.
Your life might have peaked at this point.
Yeah.
Though, I was also...
It took me 100 episodes to get here, man.
Here's another peak. I was reading an interview with Clark Gregg where he talks about how Captain Marvel will feature him.
Yes.
And his origin story, apparently. So that's going to be fun for you.
It's going to... Yes.
Is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. basically an instruction manual for the actual movies? Where it's like... Cool, you saw that, but here's how all of it worked.
Yes! Yes, it is. It gives you the real repercussions of shit.
Oh, perfect.
Like, stuff happens in the MCU and you're like, yeah, okay, a superhero movie, I guess. But then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has to actually clean it up. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of ties into Damage Control, the show that never happened, or I guess is still happening.
Which was supposed to be a sitcom.
Exactly, the show that was supposed to be a thing.
No,
I don't know if it is.
It was supposed to be serious. The DC one was funny, powerless.
Oh, really?
And Damage Control, I think, was supposed to be a serious take on what happens after a Battle of New York style event. All right.
It's so great. It's a Whedon show, man. It's a proper Jed Whedon.
Is he still involved at this point?
Fully. He directed the finale.
Jed is?
Yeah.
Or Joss?
Joss was a producer on it.
Right.
Jed Whedon and Marissa Tencher, I can never say her name. Tencherion, whatever. They're 100% the showrunners. And it's great. It feels very Whedon. It's a family-driven kind of a thing. It's hilarious in just that Whedon way. It's too similar to Firefly, but it gives you that, familial kind of... We're on the run and villain of the week kind of thing, but handled it. It's kind of like Buffy. It's got that.
See, this
it
sounds
just keeps
great.
Going. Yes, it's a great show.
Yeah, but I feel like at this point, I've talked so much about how I don't want to watch it that I can't start watching it. But I will recommend that our listeners watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And also listen to the Geek Fruit podcast, which I suppose they are, because they are our listeners. And they can listen to the full episode in which Tejas and I discuss the DC animated universe, which should be fun for them. Is this true? Jishnu, I think Jishnu is dreaming of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. All right. See y'all, you nerds.
As you can see, we have a podcast listener in his natural habitat. Millions of years of evolution have led him to this point. He's on his way to work, and listening to podcasts makes his miserable day better. He will now head to work and use all his knowledge to communicate with other colleagues and possibly future mates. You can find more of his species on ivmpodcasts.com, your one-stop destination where you can check out all the coolest Indian podcasts. Happy listening.